Caleb, I want to look at some of the topics that our viewers have asked us to discuss tonight. Paul says, the US are losing to China due to their focus on woke culture and political correctness. Australia is not far behind. Now, I'm with Paul there, Caleb. You're a master of woke culture. Have we lost the plot? Are we going to lose to China?
Master of woke culture. It might be the first time I've ever been called that, Cory. But look, he's right. The point here, and I've been saying this for very many years, and it comes in various forms. At the moment, it's China. Prior to that, we had a very serious issue with Islamist terror and Islamist belief. And it is fundamentally fuelled by people who live in the West but don't like the West, you know. They stand against everything that the West believes in. They don't believe in freedom of speech. They don't believe in freedom of the individual. They don't believe in freedom of religion, particularly when it pertains to Christianity and the fundamental beliefs and the rule of law and the other benefits that Christianity has brought to the Western world. And they actively work to talk down Western culture, to talk down countries like Australia, to make us doubt ourselves, to make us hate ourselves, to make us feel like we are in the wrong and that we must be obsequious to other nations because they are apparently more advanced than us, even though in many cases they are far less advanced than we are. And so when we focus on that, if you talk a nation down enough, you create a vacuum, and someone is going to seek to fill that vacuum.
But Caleb, isn't it more simple? I mean, we're arguing about pronouns and whether men can have babies and whether men should be able to play in women's sport. The Chinese aren't arguing about that. They're building their military might. They're stockpiling their resources. They're developing their human potential. We seem to be diminishing all the things that have made us great.
Well, that's right, because we get caught up in these arguments about the minutiae of things and we don't talk about the big picture. We talk ourselves down. I mean, you and I don't, but there are people who, through the long march through the institutions, academics in particular are driving this, where they are making people focus on issues that are not issues. And that distracts from the real problems at hand. And it allows a superpower like China to rise and rise and rise. And by the time they're finished with us, we won't have realised it even happened. Because as you say, we'll still be talking about whether you're a he, him, or a she, her, or a they, them, because that's what academia is obsessed with. And they have moved the public discussion. We have to push back against it.
You only got 3 pairs in there, mate. There's 50 different pronouns now. Anyway, Sid, I've got to move on.
Right, sorry.
Sid says, there's a question to the left-wing greenies that disrupt coal trains. Why are they not out the front of the Chinese embassy? They should be there on a permanent basis. They have hundreds of coal-fired generators and are building more. Well, isn't this a classic? I mean, the people who want to hector and lecture Australia about its failings, like digging up coal and building wealth, or what's happening in Aboriginal communities, are deliberately and happy to ignore Chinese flouting every international convention, conquering the South China Sea, imprisoning people in slave camps to build iPhones and solar panels and stuff. It's just extraordinary. They are cowardly when it comes to tackling the big issues against the big bully on the block, aren't they?
Well, they turn a blind eye because, of course, they're all communists, or they're at least sympathetic to communism, and they wouldn't dare criticise a communist nation like China. This is the realities of communism we see in China. We see the Uyghurs, as you say, imprisoned in internment camps where they are made to work, where their organs are harvested and sold. Now, I'm not sure the last time I saw a lefty organisation protesting out the front of a Chinese embassy or any other Chinese organisation in this country. Against that, it seems to be the right in this case who has to stand up against China to defend the Muslims of China. Now, I thought that would be the preserve of the left, and of course there would be no reason for Australia to dig up and sell coal if other nations didn't want to buy it. I mean, that's the fact of the matter here. And so it's all good and well for the green lefties and these Extinction Rebellion grey-haired types who go and glue themselves to the road and make people sit there spewing out more emissions as their cars idle behind them, to carry on about, oh, woe is us, we've not committed to 2050 and all this sort of business. Countries like China, I mean, we could totally stop burning coal here overnight. We could turn off all the lights forever. And within a month, China will have overtaken our entire country's emissions.
Yeah.
But we don't want to stand up to the Chinese superpower because, they're socialist and communist, and we wouldn't dare acknowledge that bad things come along with that kind of doctrine.